Hello, my name is Guy Wallace, and I'd like to introduce you to the Instructional Activity Development and Acquisition process of the PACT processes for training and development, learning, and knowledge management. PACT is an acronym because it is Performance Based, Accelerated, Customer and Stakeholder Driven, Training and Development of any blend. PACT provides 3 levels of integrated instructional systems design, plus common analysis and common project management philosophies, approaches, tools, and templates, all intended to reduce cycle times and costs and increase content reuse, and most importantly, improve the performance impact of your training and development offerings. The PACT processes, 3 sets of integrated instructional systems design methodologies include curriculum architecture design, modular curriculum development, and instructional activity development. CAD, curriculum architecture design, a systems engineering or architectural level of ISD. MCD, modular curriculum development and acquisition, a new product development level of ISD. IAD, Instructional Activity Development and Acquisition, a new product component development level of ISD. IAD is a gated new product component development ISD process using a modular platform design approach for developing instructional components. When your need is not an instructional product in the traditional sense, but the need is to, with or without a prior CAD effort, develop components of potential future instructional products that can also stand alone, such as best practices, hints and tips, performance guidelines, and output examples, templates for project plans, reports, and presentations, certification and qualification performance and knowledge tests, product knowledge modules, policy modules, tool use modules. Because aren't best practices intended to be instructional and process performance oriented? Aren't lessons learned intended to be instructional and process performance oriented? IAD, Instructional Activity Development and Acquisition, when you want a predictable, collaborative ISD process with a proven history of success. Who is involved in an instructional activity development and acquisition project? Well, on the supplier side, the roles include the project manager, the performance analyst, the MCD and IED designer, and a lead developer. On the customer side, the roles include the project steering team, chair and members, interested stakeholders in the process and the outcome of the effort. They would hand-pick the analysis and design team members, as well as the development team subject matter experts, working in conjunction with developers or working on their own. And they would also pick the pilot test team members, both the master performers and the target audience representatives in the pilot testing efforts. In instructional activity development, the project steering team may offer, empower, and delegate its role to others, such as the designated development team and the PACT lead developer, and the ISD staff, after maybe kicking off the effort in Phase 1. Not always, but when it's appropriate. IAD, Instructional Activity Development and Acquisition efforts are conducted off-site in facilitated meetings for both data generation and data review. Analysis teams, design teams, development teams, pilot test teams, which are sometimes less formal in an IED effort than in a CAD or an MCD effort, and they may happen at one time, or face-to-face, or virtually, over an extended period of time. Project steering team gate reviews may be conducted or may not be conducted. The configuration of the phases for an IED project varies considerably. The standard 6 phases, which look exactly like the MCD modular curriculum development and acquisition phase set, is often altered and may be combined. In an example, phases 2 through 4, which would include analysis, design, and development, may be combined in one phase. This might be appropriate where what you're doing is producing another batch of content similar to other content that's been developed, where it's just more of the same. For example, additional policies and procedures that were beyond the scope of a previous project, or new product modules for the new products coming out, etc. How long does it typically take to conduct an instructional activity and development and acquisition project? Well, it varies tremendously depending on the amount of content to be developed and pilot tested. But the front-end phases of Phase 1, project planning and kickoff, Phase 2, analysis, Phase 3, design, and Phase 4, development and acquisition can often be combined into one phase. If a project steering team has been developing and overseeing these kinds of content in the past, it simply may be the next assignment to be given to that trusted team that's been doing good work in the past, and we trust them to do good work this time. We'll hear about it otherwise from the feedback from the users, the learners, the performers who are using our content. Maybe that's how we intend to get it, and that may be appropriate. IAD, Phase 1, Project Planning and Kickoff. Like the other PACT processes, this is kicked off often with an interview with the customer and perhaps with other stakeholders. A project plan may be put together and reviewed with the customer, perhaps in a formal project steering gate review meeting, perhaps less formally. In IAD Phase 2 analysis, either performance models are built or they are presumed and guessed at by the developers in lieu of a formal, rigorous analysis. Again, if the content to be built is similar and an extension of other content in the past, perhaps enough is known about the intent. If it's a procedural guideline, the intent is obviously to be able to perform per the procedural guideline. Existing training and development and other content, enabling content, for example, might be identified in this phase, and that would be reviewed with the project steering team in a formal or informal manner in a gate review. Whether it's actual or assumed, target audience data and performance data will be utilized conceptually or actually by the design team. However, the design phase, Phase 3, might be combined with the analysis phase or skipped entirely if the real intent was to clone the content pattern of all those policies that we had developed before, and let's just build more policies. There's no need to go through all of these steps, and on the front end of a project like this, the project manager has to see that and be able to modify the project down to the bare minimum essentials. A key design output of the design phase, if there is one, or one from a previous project that is now guiding this current effort, is the instructional activity specification where all of the analysis data resides. It provides a content flow outline that can be either used as is or modified for the developers to use, whether they are instructional developers or subject matter experts. Phase 4, development and acquisition, might happen at the same time as the design phase, or could be done separately. Developers and or subject matter experts, and just about anybody nowadays, can create content and perhaps even edit content, which might sometimes be scary. Think about this. What happens when best practices no longer are? And no longer are because they are no longer compliant with the law. Change management of your content is an important consideration. In Phase 5 of Instructional Activity Development, pilot testing occurs. Master performers are involved to test the content's completeness, accuracy, and appropriateness. Target audience representatives help us measure learning, hopefully with the on-the-job process performance as our final criterion. In Phase 6, revision and release, content is updated post-pilot using the authoring tools of your LCMS and other resources per the revision specifications, and then are released to those systems in place for storage, administration, and deployment. The project is then closed out and archived. The 6 phases of an instructional activity development effort merely organize the teams to produce the data and then review it in a logical, systematic fashion Instructional Activity Development. The features and benefits. It is performance-based. It's quick and flexible for instructional products and product component development, and or purchasing and then blending with other content, or deploying it as standalone content. It's customer stakeholder focused and driven, and it addresses training and development, learning, and knowledge management of any blend. But the real reason to pursue instructional systems design using IAD or any of the other PACT processes is for significant return on investment through increased performance impact of your instructional offerings, the increased modular design reuse of content, the reduced development time and costs, the reduced inventory system costs, the reduced administrative system costs, the reduced deployment system costs, and the reduced maintenance system costs. The PACT processes for training and development, learning, and knowledge management. 3 levels of integrated instructional systems design. Curriculum architecture design, CAD. It's a gated systems engineering or architectural ISD process for the design of a comprehensive curriculum for one or more critical target audiences. Modular Curriculum Development, MCD. It's a gated new product development ISD process using a modular platform design approach for one or several instructional products, more akin to traditional ISD as represented by the ADDIE model. Instructional Activity Development, IAD. It's a gated new product component development ISD process, also using a modular platform design approach for developing instructional components. Components that might be intended to stand on their own in an informal learning approach with standalone content. It may or may not be appropriate for many target audiences, and or be a component in more traditional instruction. You can learn more about instructional activity development in my book, Lean ISD, which is available as a free PDF, 404 pages, on my website at www.eppic.biz, epic with 2 P's, .biz. You may contact me, Guy Wallace, through my website. I hope that you have found this informational. Have a good day.